There's a hierarchy that's controlled the most powerful military force in history for over 300 years. It determines who shouts orders at you in the rain at 5 a.m. and who sits in Whitehall making decisions about wars you'll fight. The British military rank system is older than America, more complex than you think. And the gap between the bottom and top is so extreme, they might as well be different species. Here's what nobody tells you. A private in the British Army makes £23,496 a year. That's £1,958 per month to get screamed at, do push-ups in mud, and follow orders without question. A four-star general makes £181,467 per year. That's £15,122 per month to attend meetings in London and make strategic decisions. Same uniform, same oath to the crown, but one of you is cleaning toilets at 4 a.m. while the other is advising the Prime Minister. This is every rank in the British military explained, what they actually do, how much they really make, and why the system is designed to keep most people at the bottom forever. Before we break down ranks, understand this: the British military has two completely separate worlds that never mix. Other ranks and officers. These aren't just different ranks, they're different social classes that happen to wear the same uniform. Other ranks are the workers. You enlist, you do the actual fighting, the maintenance, the grunt work. You can rise from private to warrant officer, but you'll never command a battalion. You'll never make strategic decisions. You'll spend 20 years taking orders from 23-year-olds with university degrees. Officers are the rulers. You need a university degree to become one. You start with more authority than 80% of enlisted personnel on day one. You plan operations, you command units, you attend staff college. The system assumes you're leadership material because you went to university. That's it. Here's the brutal part. An enlisted warrant officer with 25 years of combat experience must salute a second lieutenant with 6 months of service. The lieutenant went to Sandhurst. The warrant officer didn't. That's the only difference that matters. You choose your track at 18. Choose wrong, and you're locked in for life. Private. You are invisible. This is your first 2 years in the British Army. You're either a private or 1 or lance corporal in training, or 2, which is basically private with slightly more responsibility, but the same pay and the same status. Nobody. You wake up at 5 a.m. for PT. You run until someone pukes. You clean equipment that's already clean because a corporal wants to teach you a lesson about attention to detail. You stand in the rain holding a rifle for hours during exercises. Your entire job is following orders and not screwing up badly enough to get RTU'd, returned to unit in disgrace. But here's what makes it worse. Those 2 years feel like 10. Every day is someone with 2 stripes on their arm, finding creative ways to make your life difficult. Not because they hate you, because that's how the system works. You're being tested to see if you can handle following orders from people who aren't that much smarter than you, but happen to outrank you. Pass this test, and you might make lance corporal, and you stay private until your contract ends, or you quit. About 30% don't make it past year 2. Lance corporal, barely above nothing. Lance corporal is the weird middle ground where you're still basically a private, but now you're responsible when the other privates screw up. You don't command respect. You're just the person who has to make sure everyone shows up on time and nobody loses their rifle. The British Army has a special name for lance corporals, Lance Jacks. It's not a term of endearment. It means you're the person everyone blames when things go wrong, but nobody listens to when you give instructions. You have just enough authority to be responsible, but not enough to actually make anyone do anything. Promotion to full corporal takes 4 or 6 years minimum. Some people stay lance corporal for a decade. The ones who do either love their technical job and don't want leadership responsibility, or they tried for corporal multiple times and keep failing the leadership courses. Corporal, where real leadership starts. This is where the British Army's NCO backbone begins. Corporals are section commanders. You lead soldiers in combat, you make tactical decisions, and when things go wrong, you're the one fixing it before your sergeant notices. Here's the reality of being a corporal. You're 25 years old with 6 years of service, leading teenagers who joined 6 months ago. Some of them think they know better than you. Some of them are legitimately smarter than you. Your job is making them all function as a unit, despite their egos, stupidity, and the fact that half of them are hungover. The British Army trusts corporals with extraordinary responsibility. Corporals led sections on patrol where one wrong decision meant everyone dies. No officer is standing next to you making decisions. You see an IED. You decide the route. You take contact. You decide the response. You're 25 and people's lives depend on you. Only about 40% of lance corporals ever make corporal. The rest either leave or accept. They're not cut out for leadership. The promotion board is brutal. Leadership courses, fitness tests, recommendation from your chain of command, and luck. Sergeant. The backbone British Army sergeants are the people who actually make the military function. Officers give orders based on theory learned at Sandhurst. Sergeants execute those orders based on a decade of experience. When a 22-year-old lieutenant has a brilliant plan that would get everyone killed, the sergeant tactfully suggests modifications that might work in reality. This is the most important rank in the British Army. Sergeants train soldiers, enforce discipline, maintain equipment, handle admin, and somehow keep morale intact when everyone's cold, wet, and hasn't slept in 48 hours. Officers command. Sergeants lead. But here's the tension nobody talks about. That lieutenant outranks you. Legally, they give orders, and you follow them. But they have 18 months of experience, and you have 12 years. Bad lieutenants ignore their sergeant and make catastrophic mistakes. Good lieutenants listen and learn. Your job is guiding without undermining, because if you contradict them in front of soldiers, you've destroyed their authority. If you don't correct them, people might die. Making sergeant requires 8–12 years and intense competition. Only 30% of corporals ever make it. Color sergeant, staff sergeant. The specialists, or 7, is where the British Army splits you into 2 paths. Color sergeant, infantry and cavalry, or staff sergeant, other units. Same rank, different titles. You're a senior NCO managing 40–60 soldiers, or serving as a technical specialist in your field. Color sergeants are company-level senior NCOs. You're the link between junior NCOs and the company sergeant major. You handle complex discipline issues, training programs, and operational planning. You've served 15+ years, and you've seen everything. Staff sergeants are technical experts. Signals, engineers, logistics. You're the person who actually knows how the equipment works and how operations function. Officers make decisions. Staff sergeants make those decisions actually happen. Warrant Officer Class 2. The senior NCOs WO2Cs are called Sergeant Major. In most units, or SQMS, Squadron Quartermaster Sergeant in Cavalry. You're the senior enlisted advisor to a company commander, responsible for 120 soldiers' discipline, welfare, training, and readiness. This is where you gain enormous informal power. A company sergeant major can make a captain's life absolutely miserable if that captain doesn't show proper respect to NCOs. CSMs enforce standards, maintain discipline, and serve as the voice of enlisted soldiers to officers. When a CSM speaks, everyone listens, including the officers. Less than 5% of soldiers ever reach WO2. You've served 18,022 years. You've probably done multiple combat tours. You know the Army inside and out. Warrant Officer Class 1. The peak WO1 Psi are the highest enlisted rank. Regimental Sergeant Majors, RSMs, serve as the senior enlisted advisor to battalion commanders. They're responsible for 600+ soldiers and have more informal authority than most majors. RSMs are legendary figures in British military culture. They're the ones who maintain regimental tradition, enforce dress standards, and ensure junior soldiers don't embarrass the regiment. An RSM can verbally destroy a second lieutenant in front of the entire battalion and face zero consequences because everyone, including that lieutenant's commanding officer, knows the RSM is right. Only 1 to 2% of enlisted personnel ever make Durio 1. It's the culmination of 25-plus years of service and exceptional leadership. Second lieutenant, brand new and dangerous straight out of Sandhurst after 44 weeks of training. You're 23 years old with a university degree in something unrelated to military operations. You now command a platoon, including a sergeant with 12 years of experience who's forgotten more about soldiering than you'll ever learn. Here's the reality. Good second lieutenants shut up and listen to their sergeant. Bad second lieutenants think they know better because they went to Sandhurst. The Army tolerates bad second lieutenants because they assume you'll either learn quickly or get yourself killed during training before you do real damage. Promotion to lieutenant is automatic after 12-18 months. You basically can't fail unless you do something criminal. Meanwhile, that sergeant advising you fought for 12 years to make his rank. Lieutenant to captain, learning to not be useless lieutenants have learned from their mistakes as second lieutenants. Captains command companies, 120 soldiers, and are actually competent. Promotion is nearly automatic if you don't catastrophically mess up. The pay gap is insane. A captain with 5 years of service makes £47,000. A sergeant with 12 years makes £39,934. The captain earns 18% more, despite having half the experience. Why? University degree. That's it. Major to colonel. The career officers majors serve as second-in-command of battalions or as staff officers. Lieutenant colonels command battalions, 600 majors, 800 soldiers. Colonels command brigades, 3,000, 5,000 soldiers, or serve in senior staff positions. Here's where competition begins for officers. Not everyone makes major. Fewer make lieutenant colonel. Even fewer make colonel. But if you reach OFF-6, you're in the top 5% of officers after 20-plus years. Brigadier to general, the untouchables. There are only about 150 generals in the entire British Army. Out of 80,000 personnel, that's 0.2%. They command divisions, run defense operations, advise Parliament, and attend meetings where decisions about wars are made. A 4-star general makes £181,467 per year. A warrant officer class 1, with the same 25-plus years of service, makes £58,595. The general makes 210% more. Both dedicated their lives to the Army. The general had a university degree at 21. The system rewards officers. It always has. The British military rank structure isn't designed to promote the best soldiers. It's designed to maintain a class system that's existed since the 1700s. Officers have always come from educated, wealthy backgrounds. Other ranks have always come from working-class families who needed employment. That class distinction still exists. Officers attend Sandhurst for 44 weeks. Other ranks attend basic training for 14 weeks, then specialist training. Officers learn strategy and leadership. Other ranks learn how to follow orders and perform technical tasks. The system assumes officers are smarter because they went to university, regardless of whether that's actually true. The promotion system reinforces this. Other ranks fight for every promotion. Years of perfect performance, leadership courses, recommendations, and still only 30 to 40% make the next rank. Officers get promoted almost automatically for the first decade. The system wants officers to advance. It tolerates enlisted advancement. The result is a permanent divide. A brilliant lance corporal with natural leadership ability will never command a company. A mediocre lieutenant with a degree in medieval history will command 100 soldiers by age 26. The system isn't designed to identify the best leaders. It's designed to maintain a hierarchy where education at age 21 determines your entire military career. Most soldiers never make it past corporal. They hit the wall at OR4 and stay there until they leave. The competition is too fierce. The course is too difficult. The politics too complicated. 95% of enlisted personnel spend their entire careers in the bottom half of the rank structure. Most officers plateau at major or lieutenant colonel. They reach O4 or O5, and that's as far as they go. Making colonel requires perfect performance, perfect timing, and political connections. The jump to general ranks is even more brutal. Only 0.2% make it. The system is a pyramid, wide at the bottom, impossibly narrow at the top. And unlike some militaries, the British system is also a class barrier. You choose your track at 18. Other ranks or officer. That choice determines your entire career, your earning potential, and whether you'll spend 25 years taking orders or giving them. Choose wisely, because once you sign that contract, the system doesn't let you switch. Other ranks stay. Other ranks. Officers stay officers. And the gap between them, built on 300 years of British class structure, is permanent and unbridgeable. That's every rank in the British military, not the glossy recruiting video version. The version where 18-year-old privates make £24,000, while 50-year-old generals make £181,000. Where a university degree matters more than combat experience. Where the hierarchy isn't about merit, it's about maintaining a class system that's older than modern warfare itself.